G'day Bomber fans. Well, Essendon have finally confirmed all their list changes heading into the draft. We've obviously had a few players retire, we've traded a certain Mr. package, but it's the delistings that I find the most interesting, so we're going to get through the two that have occurred in the last week, sum up every change as a whole to our list, and then talk about what it means for the draft and the rookie draft and the upcoming delisted free agency period, everything. So let's get into it. Alright, starting with everybody's favourite player, Sam Weideman. He was made to wait a little bit over the trade period. He wasn't delisted straight away, which it's frustrated a few people. The reason for this was because we had to wait and see what happened with Laverty. We couldn't delist Weideman and then lose Laverty. That would ruin our key defensive stocks, but of course Laverty stayed with the Bombers. He couldn't find a trade, so immediately after the trade period, Weideman was delisted after just 2 seasons with Essendon, traded from Melbourne. He played 1 game in 2024, his only game played as a defender. In 2023, he was a forward. He started with promise, but it was dropped after a 7 goalless game streak, which we all remember very fondly. Those were great memories for Essendon fans. He played 16 matches and kicked 15 goals, 17 matches for Essendon overall. I don't hate the trade for Weideman. We brought him across for a packet of chips, but in hindsight, we probably could have kept the draft pick, but Weideman was really helpful for us early in 2023 when Wright was injured, so we got to thank him for that. But yeah, he won't be with us next year, which is the right call. Hopefully he finds a list spot somewhere else to continue his career. And our most recent list change, Jayden Davey, he was also made to wait a bit just to see what happened with list changes over the trade period, but in the end, the club decided to delist him anyway, despite us not bringing any players in. I think maybe what happened here was the Bombers kept him over the trade period in case an absolute disaster occurred when finding draft capital for Kako, planned for the worst, I guess. But obviously we got the points. Kako will come into the club in our forward line, so Davey has gone even further down the pecking order. He's been delisted after 2 seasons, 1 full season really when you think about it, because he came to the club off the back of that knee reconstruction. He didn't even play an AFL game, so he's very stiff. It's rough to be drafted and delisted after 1 season, but realistically, if you watched VFL, you'd know he was struggling at the level a bit. He had a couple of really promising games, but I feel like in every VFL review video, I was saying that we needed to see more out of Davey, and we rarely did. He averaged under 10 disposals and under a goal a game. It's really brutal to delist a kid this raw, and especially one connected to the club through the father-son rule, but I don't mind it. I think this had to be done with Kako coming in. I just really doubt that Davey would have been close to getting a game next year anyway. We need to overhaul our general forward line. It's just not good enough, and keeping Davey would ensure that it takes longer for us to do that. So Davey is gone. We'll see if he manages to continue playing footy elsewhere or not. It leaves his twin, Alan, at the club. He falls out of contract at the end of next season. So let's go over the list changes we've made this year and see what it means for our list management strategy. Baldwin, Davey, Hind, Hunter, Wanganeen, and Weideman have all been delisted. Kane Baldwin has been offered a train-on spot if he shows promise in the preseason, so he'll be training with us and hopefully an SSP signing, which he was back in 2020 if you remember. Dyson Heppel and Jake Kelly both retired, leaving a hole in our backline, and of course Jake Stringer was traded from the club to the Giants, so this now means we have 9 list changes in 2024, most to our defence, so that will need some work, but it means we now have to bring in quite a few players, and that's going to be interesting. How do we manage to bring in these players after the trade period with the list changes we've already made? Last year we made 11 list changes and had 4 trades to go along with it, so we're obviously going to be pretty active in the draft. I think we probably take 4 players, including Kako. I think we are active in the rookie draft as well. At least 1 player will come through there. We're keeping a spot open for the SSP period. We currently have 31 players on our senior list. Rules state that you need to have at least 36 and at max 38. That's the senior players. It's not including rookies. So we have quite a few players to bring in, most through the draft. There is also the upcoming delisted free agency period. I suspect we bring in someone there, hopefully a certain Jackson Pryor. A good way to annoy us fans, though, would to be chuck in Josh Rotham on the list instead of Jackson Pryor. I actually think Pryor could be a handy player. He's unproven, but I like that. I think it's going to be the story of our list build. We're replacing outgoing players, quite a few of them older and experienced. Heppel, Hind, Kelly, Stringer and Weideman are all over 25, close to 30, and most of the guys that will come in over the next month are 18. So we're going to be a very, very young team heading into 2025. As it stands right now, without the draft, we're the 7th youngest list on average. So when we add our 18-year-olds, it'll only get younger. I think that shows you where we'll be on the ladder next year, but I don't mind it. I like that we get a really good look at our youth before 2025, where we can make some real proper list changes, turn things over if it's really not worth persisting with. Trial and error kind kind of year coming up, I think. Let's have a little look at 2025, the out-of-contract players that could be in this video this time next year. There are 14 of them right now, but there are set to be more when we add players to our list. So Jayden Davey Jr., Ben Hobbs, Dylan Shield, Harry Jones, Jayden Davey, Jai Menzies, Lamar Lowell, Nick Bride, Sard El Hawley, Sam Draper, Todd Goldstein, Vigo Vicentini, Will Setterfield, and Zach Reed. There are some big names there. For starters, Shield and Goldstein. I mean, one of them is surely going to retire. Goldstein's 58. I could see a world where both are gone, either delisted, retired, or traded, whatever it is. They're the last players we currently have on our list that are over 30 years old. Merritt turns 30 next year. You've got a bunch of players under pressure too. Davey, Laverty, Menzies, Setterfield, and Reed. Those futures are hard to read. And you also got rookies like Vicentini and El Hawley who, if they don't show improvement in 2025, could find themselves unlucky. It's a really interesting year next season for our list. We're probably going to lose even more experience. We could have big calls to make with prize draftees. What happens if Zach Reed doesn't play again? What happens if Draper leaves as a free agent to the Crows? It's going to be super interesting to see where we end up as a club. It all depends on how results go in 2025, but I think just looking at our build this year and the players out of contract next year, there will be some big decisions made. Alright, and that is that. Quicker video today, but stay tuned to the channel. I've been pretty quiet since the trade period, having a little rest, but I'm about to put out a buttload of draft-related videos. I'll start by highlighting the best players of each position in the draft. I think my first video is going to be the 10 best key forwards in the 2024 draft, followed by key defenders and so on and so on. So you get the drill. But if there are any draft-related videos you want to see, just let me know down in the comments below and I'll work on them. That is all for now though. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and as always, go Bombers.